Are you inadvertently telling people not to listen to you when you speak? Well, on today's video, I want to share a very common, unconscious way we ensure no one listens to us. And it's actually related to one of my most popular videos on YouTube. So I have talked about this before, but I was inspired to do today's video by a couple of interactions I've had this week. And I know this really impacts so many people. So stay tuned if you feel that people don't listen to you. So before I get going, my name is Anuska Taylor. I release weekly videos on all things speaking voice related, communication, presentation skills, public speaking related, but from a much deeper place. My philosophy is your voice is really the effect, your mind is the cause. So what's going on within is driving your voice. And so, yes, we still do the voice training, but what's more important is you shift your internal sense of self and your self-concept. So my coaching is much deeper than your average voice coaching out there. And I use Jungian depth coaching from the work of Swiss psychologist Carl Jung as my basis for this work. So if you enjoy my videos and you enjoy this type of content, please do consider subscribing. It makes a huge difference to getting my videos out to more people. And if you enjoy my videos, please do like, share, and comment. And as always, below, if you're interested in working with me, there are many ways I can help you, from my signature 8-month private voice coaching program, Speak with Impact, if you want the deepest transformation, through to I've got a couple of online courses as well, if you prefer to do it at your own pace, in your own time, and don't want a massive investment. So as I said, I was inspired to do this video this week by a couple of interactions I've had. And that honestly is what inspires most of my videos. Like something will happen in a client call or a consult or a conversation I have with someone. And I'm like, okay, I need to talk about this because this I know really impacts so many people. And I'll be honest, this used to really impact me as well. So have you ever been delivering a presentation or even been put on the spot and asked a question, even if it's just to introduce yourself? And you immediately kind of go into panic mode and want to get it over and done with as quickly as possible. So you speak fast. And you think that by speaking fast means that people are more likely to listen to you because you're not taking up so much time, you're not wasting people's time, and you're not taking up so much space. But truthfully, what you're really doing is you're saying, don't listen to me. Because the energy behind it, when it is a pattern, and I'm going to clarify this in a minute, is fear-based. And when it's fear-based, then your intention and your energy behind it is fearful, meaning don't listen to me. So what you're actually saying to people when you speak fast, when you rush through the answer to a question, or you rush through a presentation, is don't listen to me. I've got nothing of value to share. I don't deserve to have your time. I don't deserve to take up this space. I don't deserve to be heard. You're more important than me, and your time is more important than me. Now, this can be very difficult for the ego to hear, but again, I want you to sort of hear this from a place of awareness versus beating yourself up, because it's the first step. And I want to sort of clarify the difference between speaking fast from a place of fear and speaking fast from a place of openness and freedom, because there is a difference. And I'm not saying that speaking fast in and of itself is bad, because it isn't. And apart from anything else, sometimes we want to vary our pace because it makes our delivery more interesting. But as someone I spoke to this week said to me, often when she's in a state of excitement about sharing something, she speeds up. Her voice becomes quicker. So I want to just clarify the difference, because this is where you tuning in to what's really going on within, and this takes a high level of self-awareness, which can be difficult when we're not used to tuning into our body and we're very externalized and we live in our head. We've really got to start to feel, is this desire to speak fast, is this a knee-jerk reaction? Am I being reactive? Is it driven from a place of fear? I need to get this over and done with as quickly as possible. Does it feel restrictive? Do you feel like you're contracting when you do it? Is there a sense of, on some level, when you tune in, well, I don't think anyone's going to listen anyway, so let me just get this over and done with as quickly as possible? but you'll feel it in your body. You will feel the energy. Is it fearful? Is it grasping? Is it needy? Is it desperate? Is there a sense of wanting to hide and run away? Now, the other side of the coin, because it could be driven from excitement, or it could just be driven from your varying how you express yourself. But there's an ease, there's a calmness, there's a state of expansion and openness. And again, as I said, you have to tune in because actually, physically, the sensations in the body of anxiety and fear and excitement, it feels very similar. So we have to tune into what's the emotion behind this. And we've all been in a situation where we feel excited about something. And it does have more of an expansive feeling behind it versus it might feel similar in your body, but it feels more heavy and contracted. That's what you've got to pay attention to. And also notice, is it a pattern? Do I always just speak fast when I'm around people? I'm uncomfortable in the limelight. Because actually, for most people, when they speak fast from this place of fear, it's really driven from this discomfort with being visible, with being noticed, with taking up space, with being heard, with being seen. Now, the problem is with common advice out there on social media. I actually put this into Google AI to see what came up, to look for like the common solutions to what do you do when you speak fast. And honestly, I mean, I've talked about some of these before, but they've got to be working in tandem with the emotional piece. So common advice you will be given is to pause. Very important. Pause more, be more deliberate with your pausing. Yes, 100%. Breathe more, take some very conscious breaths. Yes, important. Enunciate more. I say this all the time. If you enunciate more intentionally, you cannot speak as fast in most cases. Yes, very important. Also, do some deep breathing before you start speaking. Do some visualization, some meditation. Yes, tick, tick, tick. These are all really important. And this is the common advice out there. Also, things like practice more, prepare what you're going to say, practice in front of a mirror. Yes, yes, yes. All really important. But if fundamentally, to you at the deepest level, slowing down, taking up space, being visible is emotionally unsafe for you, you might be able to kind of achieve some success with what I would call putting the plaster on the problem, but you're not really addressing the root cause. So the voice is the effect, the mind is the cause. The mind is what you need to work with, and specifically how you unconsciously really see and feel about yourself, what you really believe about yourself at the deepest level. That is what's really driving your voice, but it is unconscious. So a lot of the time, people are speaking fast, but they bought into the illusion that, well, I've always just spoken fast. I've heard this so many times. And if you don't have any conscious control over it, then you know it's actually being driven from your conditioning. And if it's not serving you, then you know on some level that your ego sees slowing down and taking up space as unsafe. So for you, speaking fast is socially adaptive and it keeps you emotionally safe. Now, if you don't address that deeper emotional cause and integrate the emotion, which is all about the Jungian side of this, looking at the persona, looking at the shadow, the integration of the shadow, stepping into your true self, which is unlimited, which is abundant. If you don't do that, you are really just dancing around on the surface. And so, yes, you might be able to kind of create some change by pausing and breathing. And I'm not saying that's going to have no impact, but you're still pushing away the deeper fear. You are still running away from actually really being seen and heard and visible. And that's what you need to address. Because actually, when you address that, you will naturally slow down. This is the point. This is the truth. And this was a conversation I had with someone this week. You won't feel like you need to micromanage your voice because it's coming from a deeper place. The voice will respond to what's going on within. But what most people do is they avoid what's going on within. I don't want to do the emotional stuff. I just want to work on the voice stuff. So they do the pausing and the breathing and they get some sort of shift. But fundamentally, they're still running away from a fear of really being seen and heard and visible. And why might we run away from that? Well, it's vulnerable. It's vulnerable to really put yourself out there, to really share yourself, to share how you feel, to share what you think, to share your ideas. for fear of criticism or blame or ridicule. That's what we're really running away from. That fear of being rejected, being abandoned, being unloved. That's what all of this is really about. And so that's why the deeper approach to this is to integrate, first of all, what we're running away from, but then connecting to this deeper part of ourself, this true self, which can never be abandoned, never be hurt, never be lost, left, etc. Because this is that essence of us that is always there, always has been there through all the changes of our body, through all the changes that we've gone through in our external life. That essence of us has always been there. It's a constant in our life. And when we can connect to that, then you show up far more powerfully. And then when you do the pauses and the breathing, it's going to feel just more natural and more comfortable. You won't be in your head thinking, I need to pause, I need to breathe, because you'll just naturally do it because it's just going to emanate from you. And that's why this work is so important. And, you know, I've been in this space for a long time, in this voice space as a teacher, as a singer, as a voice user myself. And I've tried just working on the surface. I've tried just doing all the voice exercises. And I promise you, it will only take you so far. You have to shift how you fundamentally see yourself at the deepest level. And it's very difficult to do by yourself because your ego doesn't want you to change. Your ego wants you to stay stuck with these patterns, these limiting patterns, so that you can't be heard, because on some level, being heard is unsafe. And I'd say that's the case for most of us. Even if you have a big booming voice and you dominate conversations, there's a fear of being more vulnerable often. And I work with a lot of people on both sides of the coin, the people that hide and don't express themselves, and the people that force their voice onto other people. But either way, it's a fear of vulnerability. And just putting a plaster over the problem, you're still pushing the fear away. And therefore, you're never going to really feel confident. You're always going to be in your head when you're presenting or you're speaking because you haven't really internalized it and integrated it. So here's a couple of things you can do. So first of all, if you are someone that speaks fast and you feel like it's a pattern, just start to tune into what's the energy behind it. Is it based in fear? Is it based from this place of contraction and restriction? Or is it maybe more on the excitement? You know, there's an openness, there's a freedom, and you feel very expansive when you speak. That's going to tell you a lot about whether there's really a fear driving this or not. So here's a question also I'd like you to journal about. So just free write, just don't think too much about it. Just write whatever comes into your head without trying to censor yourself. Or if you prefer, you can sit in meditation with this question. But when you think about someone who is very comfortable taking up space, answering questions, being heard, being seen, what comes to mind? And I want you to be really, really honest. No one else has to know about this. This is between you and yourself. So be really honest. Are you someone that maybe puts them on a pedestal and thinks, wow, they're amazing, I could never speak like that? Or are you very critical? Who do they think they are? They're so arrogant. They always want everyone to listen to them. What side of the fence are you on? Because whether you idolize or whether you criticize, it's two sides of the same coin, and you know it's something within you that you're rejecting. It's a part of your own shadow. And that's what you have to integrate, because they're really showing you a part of you. When you don't integrate it, you are going to find it very, very difficult to allow yourself to slow down without overly micromanaging your voice, which you don't want to do. You want the freedom to be spontaneous and generous and open when you speak. So journal on that question and notice what side of the fence that you're on. Are you the idolizing side or the criticizing side, the judging side? And just be really honest, you know, because if you judge someone for taking up space and being very comfortable speaking, you're not going to allow yourself to do it. But also, if you put that person on a pedestal, you are saying it's not within me, it's within them, it's got nothing to do with me, I'm separate. But if you're observing it, it's a part of you, whether you like it or not. And particularly if it triggers you in a positive way or triggers you in a negative way, then you know it's a part of you. So it's really a lot of this work is about becoming very, very attuned with you, what's going on within, the feelings in your body, where your mind is at, what are the thoughts that come up, what's the story your ego likes to spin, and just start to become aware. If there's any strong emotion either way, you know it's you and you know it's your shadow that you're viewing. And so this is what I do with clients. This is a big part of it. We have to become aware of what's in our shadow so we can integrate it, and then we can move through into really reclaiming our true authentic voice, our true authentic self, the self that has never been hurt or harmed and can never be hurt or harmed, that true essence, that true core part of ourselves that's always been there. That's who you really are. Everything else is transient, but that part of you has been there since the day you were born. So if this has resonated with you, if you want to go deeper with this is very, very difficult to do by yourself. But if it's something that you are interested in beginning to explore, I do have an online course, Free Your Mind, Free Your Voice, which starts to take you through identifying your voice persona, what you're rejecting in your shadow, and looking at how you can begin to integrate it. But it is really difficult. It is really difficult to do by yourself because the ego is very sneaky and very clever. It doesn't want you to change. So it will convince you it's something to do with someone else, or it's got nothing to do with me, it's outside of me. And that's why really working with a coach is the only way to really transcend this, because it's unlikely you are going to allow yourself to see what up until now has been unconscious to you. So this is unconscious. It's not limiting beliefs. It's something that you are not aware of for a reason, because as I said, you've learned that it's unsafe. So we have to explore that, integrate it. And then when you bring the voice training aspect with this deeper integration, that's when your voice can truly emerge in all its power, in all its clarity, in all its expression, regardless of your accent. So if this is of interest, please get in contact with me. I would love to speak to you. And if you enjoyed this video, please give me a like, share, comment, leave a comment below if this has interested you. I will link to the Speaking Too Fast video, which probably a lot of you have already seen, just in case you haven't seen it, because that will give you some of the quick tips, I guess. But we want to go deeper. If you want to create lasting change, you've got to go deeper. So thank you so much. I will see you on my next video.